A new season of Heartland has finally arrived, and with it comes excitement, hope, and fresh stories. But as fans dive into Season 19, one question keeps echoing louder than anything else. Why will Ty never return? His absence has left a gap that no trailer, no storyline, and no character can truly fill. Today, we step into the truth behind his story, and why this chapter in Heartland is both heartbreaking and unforgettable. The trailer for Heartland Season 19 begins like a familiar embrace. We see the wide Alberta skies, the sweeping views of the ranch, and the family that has carried us through nearly 2 decades of laughter, heartbreak, and resilience. This trailer isn't just a preview, it's a message. It tells fans that even though so much has changed, the Heartland spirit continues. The first thing that stands out is Amy Fleming. Her presence feels different now, more mature, more reflective, and filled with a quiet strength. The trailer shows her working with horses, guiding others, and standing firmly as the anchor of the family. We notice that she smiles, she laughs, but behind her eyes there is still a softness that reminds us of the loss she carries. This subtle performance is a promise that Amy's journey in Season 19 will not shy away from the past, but instead grow from it. Next, we see glimpses of Jack, the heart and soul of the ranch. Jack's wisdom and grounding presence shine as he continues to guide the family forward. The trailer suggests that Jack plays a bigger role in helping the younger generation find their way. His voice, steady and calm, is one of reassurance. The message is clear. Even though Ty is gone, the family will not fall apart. They will hold on together. The trailer also highlights Lou, now more confident and sure of herself than ever. Her leadership is on display as she balances being a mayor and a family member, showing the push and pull of her responsibilities. Lou's storyline seems to echo the larger theme of Season 19, finding balance after loss. Moving forward while never forgetting where you came from, we also get a closer look at Georgie, Katie, and Lyndy. These younger faces of Heartland are no longer side characters. The trailer hints that they are stepping into their own paths. Georgie, especially, continues to chase her dreams with horses. We sense that her journey this season will be about independence and identity. Lyndy, Amy, and Ty's daughter, is growing quickly, and her presence reminds us constantly of the father who can't be there for her milestones. Even though Ty is gone, horses run freely across the fields, sunsets stretch across the sky, and family moments flicker between joy and heartache. The music rises and falls, not in a triumphant way, but in a hopeful, healing rhythm. It feels less like the start of a brand new chapter and more like a continuation, one that accepts loss but chooses to move forward with love. What makes this trailer truly stand out is not what it shows, but what it leaves unsaid. There's no Ty, no glimpse of him in the past, no hint of his possible return, no attempt to rewrite what has already been written. And that silence speaks louder than any dialogue. It's the show's way of reminding us that Ty's story has ended, but the family's story continues. For longtime fans, watching this trailer is bittersweet. On one hand, there's joy in seeing the ranch alive, the characters thriving, and the promise of new adventures. On the other hand, there's an ache, a reminder of what will never be the same again. The trailer manages to balance both emotions beautifully. It doesn't erase Ty, it doesn't replace him. Instead, it acknowledges his absence while showing that his influence still shapes every scene. Season 19 is being positioned as a season of growth, of carrying on, and of finding strength and unity. The trailer carefully weaves together themes of resilience and hope, while making it clear that Ty's shadow will always be there, quietly guiding Amy, Lyndy, and the rest of the family. The fans who watch this trailer aren't just seeing what's next for the characters. They're also reflecting on their own memories of Ty, on the love story that touched so many, and on the idea that even after loss, life must go on. This is what makes the Heartland Season 19 trailer so powerful. It isn't just about what's coming next. It's about honoring the past while embracing the future. It's about reminding us that in every heartbreak there's room for healing. And as fans press play and step back into this beloved world, They're reminded of one simple truth. Ty may be gone, but the heart of Heartland beats stronger than ever. Ty Borden wasn't just another character on Heartland. He was the soul of the series, the kind of presence that made every moment on screen feel more real. When we think of Ty, we don't just remember the cowboy boots or the quiet smile. We remember the way he made the ranch feel alive, the way he balanced strength with compassion, and the way his love for Amy became one of television's most honest love stories. From the very first time he rode into the ranch as a troubled young man, Ty's journey was about transformation. He wasn't perfect, and that's why fans loved him. His past was filled with hardship, mistakes, and pain, but instead of letting it define him, he chose to grow. Ty taught us that healing is possible, even when life has broken you down. Watching him work with horses, seeing his patience, and witnessing how he built trust brick by brick, it became more than just a storyline. For many viewers, Ty represented hope. His relationship with Amy was the heartbeat of Heartland. It wasn't just romance. It was partnership, the kind of bond that made us believe in second chances and lasting love. Their story wasn't always easy. They faced challenges, separations, and heartbreak, but they always found their way back to each other. That love carried them through marriage, through parenthood, and through the kind of life fans dreamed of for them. When we saw Ty holding Lyndy, when we saw him standing beside Amy in their quiet moments, it felt like watching two people who had truly found home in each other. Ty's legacy goes beyond his love for Amy. He was a protector, not just of his family, but of the ranch itself. He stood by Jack like a grandson, learning from him and honoring the values that made Heartland what it is. He supported Lou when she doubted herself, encouraged Georgie to chase her dreams, became the father Lyndy would always remember, even without his presence. Every character who knew Ty carried a piece of him in their own journey. And that's why his absence still feels so heavy. Fans remember his quiet moments as much as his dramatic ones. The way he'd place a hand on a horse's neck and calm it down. The way he'd stand beside Amy during difficult times without needing to say a word. Ty wasn't loud, but his actions spoke volumes. He embodied kindness, loyalty, and resilience. That's what made him unforgettable. And this is why, even in season 19, years after his final appearance, Ty's spirit lingers. The writers don't have to show him for us to feel him. Every time Amy looks out across the fields, every time Lyndy asks a question that makes Amy pause, every time Jack shares a quiet piece of wisdom, we can almost sense Ty there, watching over them. That's the power of his legacy. For many viewers, losing Ty felt personal. It wasn't just a character leaving a show. It was like saying goodbye to a friend you had grown up with. People cried, people shared stories online, and even now, new fans who discover Heartland for the first time say that Ty's journey touches them in ways they didn't expect. That's because his story was never just about horses or ranch life. It was about finding strength in vulnerability, about building a family, and about proving that love can heal even the deepest wounds. Ty Borden may never return, but his legacy doesn't need a comeback. It's already carved into the heart of Heartland. His story is the foundation that season 19 and every season beyond it continues to stand on. And while fans may always wish for one more scene, one more smile, one more moment between Ty and Amy, the truth is that his story was complete. It was full, meaningful, and unforgettable. That's what makes his legacy so powerful. Ty isn't gone. He lives in the lessons he taught, the love he shared, and the family he left behind. And as season 19 unfolds, we'll continue to see how his presence shapes the future, not as a shadow of the past, but as a guiding light for the characters, and for the fans who still hold him close. Asterisk. When fans talk about Ty Borden, they often forget for a moment that behind the beloved character stood an actor with dreams, doubts, and a voice of his own. Graham Wardle wasn't just playing Ty in many ways. He was Ty. His calm energy, his thoughtful nature, his quiet determination. All of it flowed into the role and made it unforgettable. But like every actor, Graham reached a moment where he had to make a choice, and that choice would change Heartland forever. For over a decade, Graham lived and breathed Ty Borden. He grew up on the set. He became part of the Fleming Bartlett family, and he built a connection with fans that most actors only dream of. But as time passed, his path began to stretch in a different direction. Behind the cameras, Graham felt a pull, a need to step away from the comfort of something familiar and to explore a deeper calling. When he announced that he was leaving, it wasn't out of anger or boredom or disappointment with the show. It was something far more personal. Graham shared openly that he felt it was time for him to move forward in life. He wanted to pursue creative. In interviews, Graham admitted that this decision was one of the hardest of his career. After all, Heartland wasn't just a job, it was a family, both on set and off. He had built bonds with Amber Marshall, Sean Johnston, and the rest of the cast that were as real as the ones their characters shared on screen. Walking away wasn't about leaving them behind. It was about honoring his own journey. He wanted to push himself in new directions, whether through podcasting, writing, or personal exploration. What made Graham's departure so striking was his honesty. He didn't try to sugarcoat it or create false promises. He told fans directly that he felt it was the right time, and he trusted them to understand. And while many were heartbroken, most respected him for speaking his truth. Because just as Ty taught us about healing and growth, Graham was living out those same lessons in real life. For the writers of Heartland, Graham's decision forced a turning point. They couldn't simply write Ty out temporarily. The character was too important, too deeply woven into the story, so they chose to give Ty a final chapter. One that would leave fans devastated, but would also honor Graham's choice to move on without looking back. It's important to remember that Graham didn't leave because he stopped loving Heartland. In fact, his affection for the show and the fans has always been clear. But as he said in his own words, life is about having the courage to step into the unknown. That's exactly what he did. He trusted that his legacy as Ty would remain strong, and that fans would carry that love with them even as the story shifted. Today, Graham continues to explore life outside of acting. He has shared wisdom through podcasts and other creative outlets, showing that he's not just an actor but also a thinker, a dreamer, someone who refuses to stay in one place for too long. His journey reminds us that behind every character we fall in love with, there's a real person making choices for their own heart and future, and that's the real truth. Ty will never return because Graham Wardle chose to walk a different path, not out of rejection, but out of respect for his own growth. In many ways, his decision mirrors the very spirit of Heartland, the idea that change is painful, but it's also necessary, and that the only way to truly honor the past is by moving forward with courage. There is a truth that Heartland fans have had to face. No matter how difficult it is to accept, Ty Borden will never return. Not in a surprise cameo, not in a rewritten twist, not in some miraculous reappearance down the road. His story has been told, and it has been closed with finality. And while that truth stings, it also carries a deeper meaning, one that honors both the character and the actor who brought him to life. When Ty's death was written into the series, in Season 14, it wasn't just another plot device. It was a farewell, carefully crafted to give the story closure while respecting Graham Wardle's decision to leave. The writers could have chosen a softer exit, perhaps sending Ty away on an extended trip or keeping him off screen with vague explanations. But that would have been dishonest to the audience, and it would have left a shadow hanging over Amy's story forever. By allowing Ty's life to end, the show gave space for Amy, Lyndy, and the rest of the family to grieve, to heal, and ultimately to move forward. This is why Ty cannot come back. To undo his death would cheapen the raw emotion of that moment. It would erase the lessons of loss, healing, and resilience that have since defined the show. Heartland has always been about realism, about showing life as it truly is, with all its beauty and all its pain. Ty's passing was heartbreaking, but it was also real. And that reality is what keeps the story grounded and relatable to millions of fans. There's also the matter of Graham Wardle's wishes. He left the role with grace, choosing to step into a new chapter of his life. To bring Ty back now would go against the spirit of his decision. Graham has said clearly that he has no plans to return, and the show has respected that boundary. It's an act of respect both ways, the actor respecting the audience by being honest, and the writers respecting the actor by keeping his story complete. But here's the beautiful part. Ty doesn't need to return to remain alive in the hearts of fans. His presence lingers in every frame of the show. When Amy teaches Lyndy about horses, Ty's lessons are there. When Jack offers advice about resilience, Ty's journey echoes through his words. When the family gathers at the ranch, his spirit is part of that circle. He is woven into the fabric of Heartland so deeply that his absence is, paradoxically, another form of presence. Fans often ask, why couldn't they bring him back in a dream sequence or through flashbacks? The truth is, they don't need to. Because Ty lives on through memory, through legacy, and through the way he shaped the people around him. His return isn't necessary because he never truly left, not in the way that matters most. And maybe that's the hardest part of saying goodbye. It's not about waiting for a miracle or a rewrite. It's about learning to carry the loss with love. Just as Amy carries Ty in her heart, just as Lyndy will grow up hearing stories about her father, the fans carry Ty forward too. His story ended, but his influence continues to guide the show's direction, even in season 19 and beyond. So the truth, as painful as it is simple. Ty will never return, but he doesn't need to. His story is complete, his journey fulfilled, and his legacy untouchable. Heartland has moved forward not by replacing him, but by honoring him, and in doing so, they've shown us that sometimes the most powerful love stories are the ones that remain even after goodbye.